This is the story of my life. I have lived quite the adventure, so much that I want to tell you all about it. The adventure all started when my mom was flying around garden to garden looking for the best place for me to be born. It was summertime. The weather had to be warm or we wouldn't have the right temperatures to survive. When she found the very best milkweed for me and my 400 brothers and sisters to hatch on, she laid our eggs underneath the leaves. This protected us from the weather and predators. It took us about 5 to 10 days for us to mature from a tiny egg to a tiny caterpillar. Word in the grass is that the cool thing about us monarchs is you can see us in the eggs moving around before we hatch. Anyways, soon the eggshell became cramped because I had grown so much and I was really hungry, so I started to eat my way out of the shell. Once I was out, I was still hungry. The leaf my mom left us on looked really tasty, and I remember her last bit of advice before she flew away. She said, "The leaf you were born upon will protect you in more ways than you could ever imagine. Most importantly, it will help your species flourish for years to come. Make sure the leaf is your first meal, or it will be your last." I didn't know what she meant by all this at the time, but later I found out that the milkweed is poisonous to predators that want to eat us. So I ate and ate and ate the milkweed plant. Soon I began to get bigger and bigger. My skin started to feel tight and it wasn't stretching. One day, my outer skin began to shed. This process is called molting. For 2 whole weeks, all I did was eat and shed. I think I shed out of my skin 5 or 6 times. The milkweed was so tasty and I was so hungry. Finally, one day, I woke up and I was tired of eating. I was finally full. I knew that it was time for the next phase in my life. I began to take a journey for the perfect branch to make my new home. Once I found the branch, I began to wiggle so I could molt one last time. I wiggled and wiggled for 5 hours until my body looked like a giant green droplet called a chrysalis. Soon this outer layer hardened into an emerald case with golden dots that looked like a crown. This is where our family gets the name monarch. Inside my chrysalis, my body began to transform into a liquid and become reformed into the organs and wings for my next phase of life. This whole phase of transformation is called metamorphosis. It took about 2 whole weeks. Towards the end of the transformation, the outside of the shell became transparent and you could get a look at my new body, the butterfly. It became cramped inside the chrysalis, just like the egg, and I had to break through. It took some time to get used to my new body and my wings had to adjust. I waited for my wings to dry and I took my first flight. There were so many pretty places to visit. All that flying made me hungry, so I went to the colorful flowers below. I sipped the nectar from the flowers like milkweed, red clover, thistle, and goldenrod, and they were sweet and delicious. While I was having my snack, I saw other butterflies just like me. They told me that the monarchs were going to make a long journey to warmer weather. They called it migration. I was prepared that during the journey we could fly as much as 50 to 80 miles a day, and there were chances that we could get hit by bad weather or meet predators along the way. But I didn't want to get left behind, so I made the journey with my family. It took us about 2 months to reach our destination. Now that we are here, we will hibernate in giant clumps from November to February and only come down from the slopes to mate. My children will then make the journey back north this spring. I hope you enjoyed my story because I have lived quite the adventurous life.